night into night, knowing the price, pay it off with my life, till it's out with your lights, do it all for the Christ, and he ain't playing nice, knew the end from the start, fix your face like it's art, the sons of a simp, call him Bart, yeah, you did your best, played your part, but now it's time to cut you to the heart, flex on occasion, it's the strangeness of the salvation, you see it, believe it, amazing. Them terrorists coming invasion since the creation. War, mine, Lord, bless the general. Greatest nation, eat them unequivocal. Bombs dropping, buddy, cause it's biblical. Start shit, now it's time to finish. Whoa. Said he won't vote, he looking for smoke. So, we give him some more. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world.
I can't wait for our kingdom to start and for theirs to be finished. Get rid of all of their idols and lying religions. Look for the crown like an Edris. Hey, this that crown talk. Wisdom of Solomon 5 talk. This that second Edris 6 and 9. We want eyes talk. It's your time to end. And my time again. It's our time to win. Away with the sin. You know what it is. Rejoice with my kin. See that is why we repented. Go to the streets, I can see myself in it. The city is bright, the kingdom of light. A wonderful sight past the angels, the inner light. I need 1,000 years of labor. Sit on my throne with my savior. Try to know wine, press alone. He bring pain like major. You think the nations is equal to us? TK Kirkland, who raised you? Flex on occasion, my God a racist. That's why we moving with patience. It's been a long time coming. I spent my whole life running. Now that I'm 10 toes down and established my faith on 100. Woe to the nations, my king will race them. You know they gotta be punished. Jeremiah 25. Yeah, you know they gon' fry. Whoa! Said he won't vote, he looking for smoke. So, we give him some more. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world.
Yeah. What's going on? What's going on? Shalom, shalom. Most High in Christ bless y'all.
Most High in Christ bless, sir.
Yeah.
What it look like.
What it look like when you're on the mic.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Hey, listen, man. We could go live now. They got the thumbnail up. Anybody? Hey, there you go. Hey, shalom, Most High in Christ bless y'all, family. The Nehemiah Squad, we are back. Pray y'all had a great weekend, a good Sabbath and all that. We're going to reintroduce ourselves. I'm Captain Zaccai.
Hey, it's Officer Shim.
Yep, Officer Judah.
All right, throw that thumbnail back up there again. Now y'all can throw it back up there. All right, so today's show is going to be called Does Trump's DEI Rollbacks Hurt or Help Black America, right? So DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? And we have a very special guest, Adam B. Coleman. But before we bring him out, all right, play that first video, number 12. Play that first video, and then we're going to get right to our guest and jump into it.
Start getting back to merit-based opportunity. Let's go to our Peter Ducey at the White House with the latest on this DEI action. Peter.
And, well, it's now less than an hour until all those federally controlled DEI offices will be closed. They'll at least be empty because all of the workers are going to be placed on paid leave, and all of their websites and social media pages have to be, by 5 o'clock tonight, taken offline. And President Trump is explaining his issue with all of this in the executive order. He writes in part, these illegal DEI and DEIA policies also threaten the safety of American men, women, and children across the nation by diminishing the importance of individual merit, aptitude, hard work, and determination when selecting people for jobs and services in key sectors of American society, including all levels of government and the medical, aviation, and law enforcement communities. The prior administration shelled out $16 million taxpayer dollars worth of diversity training in 2023 alone. We don't know what the Trump team plans to do with the millions that had been set aside for these DEI priorities. Something else that is happening, the only Trump cabinet member to be confirmed so far, sent a note to everybody that works for the State Department, that is the Secretary of State, the new Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and he is instructing all U.S. outposts around the world, there are hundreds, that they can no longer fly things like the BLM flag or the Pride flag there. They can only fly American flags.
All right, drop that. We good on that. So at the end of it, he said, listen, you can only fly the American flag and not the BLM or the Pride flag. Somehow they always got to put the Pride with black people. You just can't make it up, right? But let us bring on our guest, all right? Mr. Adam B. Coleman, all right? He's got a book out called The Children We Left Behind, and also Black Victim to Black Victor, all right? Adam, where you at, brother? There he is. Hey, Adam, what's going on, bro?
I'm doing all right.
All right. Hey, it's good to meet you, man. Hey, last time you wasn't able to come on, had a little problem with the flight and all of that. We were making jokes about it. We said you probably was on American Airlines because they always messing up the flights. But Adam, please introduce yourself and let the audience know what you've been doing and what you do currently.
Yeah, I am a IT guy turned author turned commentator. Something I started doing back in 2021 when I released my first book, Black Victim to Black Victor. And it's been a wonderful ride. I am a contributor for the New York Post. I have a Substack, adambcoleman.substack.com. And as you just said, my second book just came out, The Children We Left Behind, talking about family separation, something that is very personal to me, as that's part of my story as a child, growing up without my father. So, I mean, I could talk forever about all the different projects and stuff like that, but that's the gist. All
right. Oh yeah. You know what? And we'll probably touch on that a little bit later, right? But so DEI, let's talk about it, right? Because what I'm seeing is that once Trump stopped the DEI program, right? It could be taken in a couple of ways, right? It could be taken like they're trying to stop affirmative action, or it could be taken as if he's trying to save the money from being like stolen by the different organizations, right? But that's the way I'm looking at it. But what do you see?
Well, there was something that was really important in that last clip. They used the word illegal. Trump said that this is illegal, and he's actually right. That's the brazen thing about the DEI venture, was that they were upfront about it as if it doesn't violate the EEOC. When you're getting hired, and I'm saying this as someone who communicated with, I don't know if she's still the EEOC commissioner, but I talked to the EEOC commissioner, and she explicitly said that DEI practices, if you consider any race, gender, ethnicity, anything that revolves around someone's identity as a hiring metric, that is a violation of the EEOC. And a company could get fined, and they can get in a lot of trouble because of that. That's seen as discriminatory practice. So a lot of times people say, if you're looking at someone's race, they see a discriminatory, they can understand discriminatory, like, hey, they're choosing not to hire me because I'm Black. They'll see that as discriminatory. But they don't see it if they're saying, I'm choosing to hire this Black person because he is Black. That is also equally discriminatory under the law. So I think it's important to state that beyond Trump, if Trump was never in office or anything, that the practice of DEI, whether it's by the federal government or whether it's by mom and pop shop down the street, or by any corporation, it is a violation of the Equal Opportunity Act.
All right. So then, if it's in violation, then why was it enacted in the first place? Well, what was the point?
So just like anything else, you can have a law about anything. I'm sure somewhere in the country there's sodomy laws, right? But you have to enforce it. So what we saw was a systemic effort to not enforce the law, to not go after people corporations who are brazenly saying, this is what we're doing. They were not going after it. And obviously the EEOC, as part of the federal government, and we had the Biden administration in office at the time who was fully behind this and fully behind not enforcing these things. So there's an enforcement element as to why they were doing it and getting away with it. Now, what exactly is diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Right.
On its face, it sounds nice, right? You want to have a workforce that is inclusive, that has a wide spectrum of different people, different elements, right? That sounds nice. But when you are trying to force that outcome, which means that you're taking into consideration what someone looks like, where someone's from, their background, their race, what their sex is. When you're forcing a particular outcome, then you're inevitably discriminating against someone. So if you say we need more women in here, well, you're discriminating against men. You're choosing not to hire men, rather than, hey, I interviewed a bunch of people at random, and I happen to hire a woman because actually she's just way more qualified than these guys. Then that's just what it is. But when you're saying that this is an active policy, and not just a policy, but a mindset within the company, as seeing one particular group as being more favorable than the other, then you're creating a weird environment inside any company. And so where this kind of backfires is, there's many ways that it actually backfires. But one of the ways that it backfires, let's say a company says, we need more Black people. And you just start hiring a whole bunch of Black people. Let's say all of them are qualified, right? All these are qualified Black people. But it creates an idea, especially if that Black person knows that they were hired within a company that does this type of practice, it can create an idea, was I only hired because I was Black? That's not a good feeling. That's like someone giving you a leg up when you want to earn whatever you're getting. And maybe they deserve that job. But it creates this weird environment from that sense. And then on the other sense, you have people who are looking at you as the Black person saying they only got this job because of DEI. So it creates, especially for corporations, which really tend to care about culture, it creates a weird dynamic within that environment just on its face as to why are these people here next to me? Is it because someone gave them favor? Or is it because they actually deserve to be here? And even the people who are put in that position sometimes ask themselves that question.
All right, so if that's the case, right, what would be the difference between DEI and affirmative action, right? Because in affirmative action, it was that, okay, make sure you hire enough Black people, they get a fair shake, right? That's how it started off, right? And then from so-called African American, then into other nationalities, right? To Asian or whomever it was after that. But the primary thing was to make sure that African American had a fair shake in getting hired. So what would be the difference between affirmative action and DEI?
I would say the main difference is that affirmative action was overtly seen as something to help Black Americans. Whether you agreed with affirmative action or not,
right,
it was painted as for Black people.
Right.
DEI is not just for Black people, and I would venture to say that it helps more people who are not Black.
Right.
When you look at diversity, that means that women are part of diversity. The only people who don't fit under diversity, equity, and inclusion are white men. So I'm just being, that's exactly what it is. So just, Deborah down the street fits into diversity, equity, and inclusion, where there are a lot more white women in America than there are Black people overall. So who do you think is going to benefit more often because of diversity? And so that's why even DEI, they use Black people as the front for it, but does it actually benefit Black people? Even if I agreed with it, does it actually benefit Black people overall? And the answer is not really. The biggest benefactor are women, and specifically white women.
Right. Well, you have, we're talking about law, and then we go out to somebody that's just living day-to-day life. That's not looking at the law. They're just looking at reality. And you go to a let's say I go to a Popeye's chicken, right? And it's all Asians that work there, right? I see this in the neighborhoods, right? They're starting to own chicken spots, right? The fact that the owner is Asian, he chooses to hire an Asian, another Asian, another, and now the whole thing. So, and even myself, I've known somebody that got me the job. I sat through the interview, but I knew I had the job just because I knew somebody, right? So it seemed like affirmative action and DEI was put in place to combat that. So if those things are not actually effective, what do you think the fix is? Because those things do exist.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so the one thing I would say is networking is incredibly important. And we've all gotten the hookup in many ways.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And you got the hookup because you know that person. And not every time it's because, well, I'm black and they're black, so they're hooking me up. Because you don't want to hook up every person who looks like you, who's black, right? You want to hook up certain people.
Right.
And so it could be that they're just like anyone who is Asian. If they apply, they're getting the job. Or it could be that, I don't know, they're Asian, their circle of people that they know, their network of people is mostly Asian. So if you're starting a company or if you're running a business, the environment that you have is really important. And so as a business owner or as someone who's operating business, you want to be able to trust the people that you're hiring. Well, if you already know these people and you already know that they have good ethics and all these other things, then why wouldn't I hire the people that I already know? That eliminates me having to go through the possibility of hiring someone off the street who's a complete stranger and it doesn't work out and it's a waste of time. I can just hire Bob down the street. We know each other for years. He's qualified. He can do the job. I'm going to hire him. So, you know, all those things we kind of have to kind of take into consideration. It's just that people have natural circles. Some people's circles are mixed. Some people's circles are very insulated into one particular demographic or one particular neighborhood because that's what they're most familiar with. So they hire the people that they know more often. I would venture to say that in many of these cases, like, for example, if I was to go to a 7-Eleven, it's usually owned by Indians and Pakistanis. I would venture to say that the people who are running these places are hiring family members. Right. Well, they know their family and they can trust their family and it benefits their family. So it's not because, well, I'm hiring an Indian or a Pakistanis. It's I'm hiring family. So I don't know how you necessarily combat something like that because it's part of human nature. I do think it's important that people try to infiltrate different circles, broaden your horizons, meet different people. And I think that's something that's really, really important that a lot of people don't take into account in different industries. But I will tell you, the reason why I've had so much success is because I network with anyone and everyone who I deem as a good, decent human being within my particular field. And then people say, hey, I know Adam and he's good at whatever this is, or he might be into this particular thing. And then they reach out to me and I get opportunities that way because I've chosen to broaden my horizon. I could just specifically only work with Black people, but I work with everyone because I think it's important that you interact with everyone.
Right. And the Bible talks about that too, right? Being peaceable with all men where it's possible, right?
Yeah, wherever possible.
Right. I want to show you something, right? Because I think this is part of why they wanted to shut down DEI, right? Because of this thing right here. Bring up number 3, right? Because the difference between what I see DEI and say affirmative action, right, is that they're actually giving money for DEI, right? And and then that money probably wasn't being allocated properly, right? So now here you are, you're Donald Trump, you're coming in, you're trying to make a splash. His whole thing is business. So now he's looking to cut and trim the fat, so to speak. And then the rollbacks work, right? Because it's keeping money in-house, right? Hey, can you brothers bring that up real quick? Number 3. All right. Go ahead. Just read the top right there.
Recent reports indicate.
Wait. Scroll to the top. I think. All right, there you go.
Was there
Okay,
more?
cool. Seems like something's missing, but go ahead.
Okay. Recent reports indicate that out of the $100 million in grants the Department of Justice allocated for programs related to diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, restorative justice, and social emotional learning, approximately $10.3 million was specifically spent on proposals for hiring new administrators.
Right. So you can drop that for a second, right? So it looks like a lot of that money was still kind of hanging out, right? It wasn't all used. And really it was more than, it was like 31 billion, right? So where's that money? What happened? Like, they're supposed to use that money to do what? Educate people, right? What does that mean? So now you're going to call me in there. I'm going to educate people. I'm going to charge you whatever I feel like. And like we were just talking about, you're going to hire a consultant that you probably know. So here you are, Adam. You might call me, right? You say, listen, I got you. Come on in, and you can charge $10,000 for this. Now I got $10,000 for speaking for 2 hours. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So is that part of why they're rolling it back, because somehow the money is escaping?
Escaping. Yes, that is definitely part of it. And that's actually a very good point. That's right. A massive difference between something like affirmative action, which is, a practice, a kind of a theory, that a company may choose to do, and something like DEI, because DEI was a financial motive. And it was also something that companies looked at as public relations. It actually goes beyond Trump and the federal government.
Right.
That amount of money that you're talking about there pales in comparison to how much corporations have spent on DEI efforts, literally building out diversity departments within massive corporations.
Right.
To do what? Who
Exactly.
knows? And as much of what you said, all of this money, and I can't say the name of the company, but I know someone who's part of a corporation, which at one point in time, the diversity department had the diversity department had a bigger budget than the departments that made money.
You see what I'm saying? Right.
And then you think, well, how is that possible? Because I've worked in IT, and I've heard for years, IT doesn't make us money, right? Might maintain. So they always use that, sales makes us money, this part makes us money, right. So they can get more. But diversity, there's no objective. What's the objective, right? How do you know that you're succeeding with this objective? What's the cost benefit analysis when it comes to diversity? Mm-hmm. There's all these basic questions, and corporations for years kind of just threw that out of the window, because for them, they were looking at DEI as public relations. And then they got trapped, because every corporation cares about the same thing. What's the bottom line? So at first you're like, yes, this sounds like a good effort. George Floyd, we need to be more socially aware and all these different things. Fine. And then before you know it, it has a bigger budget, because everyone is afraid to cut it. Everyone's afraid to say, sorry, we can't afford this. Which is why when Trump got into office, that very same corporation, when he got into office and Trump basically on day one was saying, we're getting rid of DEI.
Right.
That same corporation got rid of DEI. DEI became like a poisonous word. Yep. It was gone nearly overnight. And that tells me they were waiting for the moment that they can get rid of this thing, this big behemoth, this bloated budget.
Right.
They wanted to get rid of it. So yes, to answer your question, it wasn't just the federal government, but yes, the federal government was using DEI to funnel money into all different types of pet projects. All they had to say was DEI for this particular thing, and they were just throwing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of dollars into these wide variety of projects, not even just the United States, across the world. We saw with USAID how they were using USAID to funnel money all across the world, giving money to Colombia for some transgender show, just all types of weird stuff in the name of diversity.
Right.
And that that is like that was in, if you're talking about like what is the biggest grift in the past 4 years, DEI was the biggest grift in the past 4 years.
And I think, and it looks like that's what Donald Trump's whole and like you said, it's past him, right? It's the federal government and everybody else who's involved. But it looks like that's what his whole tenure this time is about. His whole campaign this time is about getting money back, taking money back from all these different departments that's been, I say, stealing, right? Stealing the money, really. Because, like you said, the reason they shut down those DEI departments in their corporation, because now they don't have the money to fund it. They were never funding it. It was coming from the government. So once he shuts it down, there's no need to have these people on staff. Okay, goodbye. Thank you. You know, you're good. You know, you had something? Okay. Hey, Shim, you had something? I'm good. Okay. I just want to show you something, right? Because this is a politician. And, hey, bring up number 7, right? Because here you are. You're looking at it from just a real point of view, right? You're not looking at it as, oh, they're doing something to black people, because we didn't look at it like that either. You know, we're looking at it realistically, like, okay, if this against the, you know, it's supposed to be against the law, what is it really doing? Because we know it's not really helping us per se, right? It's not. We know this. And everybody should have known that, but people were very, very upset, right? So look at this this politician in South Carolina, and look how he's pretty upset, right? Play that one as soon as you bring it up. Number 7, guys.
You don't like being called racist in here. You hate when we use the word racist. You hate being attacked.
Hey, brothers, just bring it back. Make sure you start it from the beginning and turn the volume up.
You don't like being called racist in here. You hate when we use the word racist. You hate being attacked. You hate when we bring up race in everything. But then when we have an opportunity to show that we're not racist, you let me down every time. Every time. And I sit here and we talk about our families, we talk about our kids, we go on trips together, and then we talk about not using our state dollars to go to white supremacy programs, and then we table it. You want to talk about some stuff? Let's talk about how they just took almost $7 million from the College of Charleston because they want to help black kids. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about all the amendments that are in the state budget right now to defund all the black programs that are going across the state. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about AP African American Studies that was banned from this state. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the attacks that you got going on people who don't look like you. Let's talk about it. Why do we continuously do this to our kids? Why? What is it that you're doing? What are you showing your kids? That public funds can go to white supremacy programs? We just had an issue at USC where all those kids felt scared. Matter of fact, we just had the Patriot Front on our steps last week. What are we doing here? Tell me what we're doing. Don't try to explain to me, well, I thought it was this, or nah, it's that. Nah, Jermaine, we want to see equality. We give you an opportunity every single time. And here we go again. I was in the back, I was ready to go just like y'all are. But here we go. Every single time you get an opportunity to show us something different, you show us who you are. You don't like being called racist.
Right, that's it on that, right? So he's a Democrat, and he's talking to Republicans, and this is around the same time as the DEI was getting rolled back, and now they were also taking money from programs in the state. So he's lumping that all together and saying, you're showing us who you are. But they've always shown us who they are, right?
Right.
So the point is, why do we as a people still think that we're going to get something out of these people? You understand what I'm saying? Like, what is the point of all of this? Because DEI, most of us who are employed with places, we didn't get hired because of DEI. You know, you got hired because they needed you, right? Even with yourself. Like, I was telling a story a few weeks back. You know, you write for the New York Post. I don't know if you're a New Yorker. Are you a New Yorker?
I'm in New Jersey. Okay,
you're in New Jersey. All right, so I'm from New York originally, right? And in IT as well, right? In Wall Street, right? So now down there, for that particular company, IT was the moneymaker, right? But now, when I was telling the story, it was funny because when I got interviewed, it was a brother who was interviewing me, who was the head of the department. So I'm going in there and I'm ready to talk tech. And he was like, don't worry about all that, man. Are you a Knicks fan? What baseball team you like? And I was like, okay, this is it. This is how these white dudes be getting hired. Because when you down there, it's nothing but white people. You know what I'm saying? You know, things are a little different now. So it's just more of us down there. But now I understood how it works. That's how we get brought in. But the point of what I'm saying is that I think us as a people, we're too hung up on trying to get these programs in order for us to get hired. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we know we don't want to be discriminated against, but it happens anyway. Because like you said, most corporations deal with a culture. And what you meant by that, you didn't mean like, okay, a particular culture. You're saying the culture of the environment, the culture of the company. And sometimes that means we just want people dealing from these type of schools. They might want just these type of schools. That might be the culture, you know? But I'm talking too much, man. Go ahead.
No, you're spitting fire. That's exactly it. When especially if you're talking about, let's say Wall Street, for example,
right?
How many of those guys went to the same schools?
Right.
Like, and a lot of people don't understand. And granted, I didn't go to college myself, but I understand for a lot of people who do go to college, like their alma mater matters a lot to them. And so if you went to Princeton, like your network is Princeton.
Right,
and then you hire your friend's son who just came out of Princeton.
Yep.
Right. So it becomes this circle of Princetonites that that all work at the same place.
Right.
And it becomes a natural culture, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, for it to just be exclusively that, or people who fit that mold, or you sound like someone who went to Princeton. I know you went to Harvard, but you sound like a Princeton boy.
Right,
you know,
right.
Whatever that might look like for them, that actually really matters to them. And I've seen this also in IT, just in general. There are people who are way more tech savvy than me, and that's great. But they're not good culture wise. Right. Like they're aloof. They're maybe quiet. They're not fun to be around. They're not team players. Like, you don't want them. Like, okay, they may nerd everything out and know everything, but you don't want them in your corporate culture. I'll take the guy who knows 80% of what this guy knows, but works great with customers, is a great team player, and if he doesn't know something, he'll work hard to figure it out. I'll take that guy every day of the week.
Right.
Than the guy who is bad in our culture. So these particular things 100% matter. Networking is incredibly important when it comes to having some sort of success. And if you make yourself a hard target, if you isolate yourself, then you can't be surprised when you get isolated results.
Right. You bring something up? Okay, I just want to say this one thing too, because we were talking about that politician. I think his name is Dr. Jeffries. The brother that was just talking, and so that's the whole thing. But even with the political arena, like we personally don't get involved with the politics, right? Because it doesn't really work out. It's promises. It's all BS at the end of the day, right? They tell us we have to be Democrats, right? As black people, we have to be Democrats, and the white people are Republicans, pretty much, right? So to speak. Mm-hmm. But when you really look at it, the Democrats are really a lot worse sometimes than the Republicans. If you really want to take a look, if you feel like you want to look at it that way, right? And it's supposed to be like a liberal society coming from the Democrats, right? I just want to read something. Right. We're going to read something out of the Bible right now about being liberal, right? Because it's important. We put the stuff that we see in the world with the things that we see in the Bible, right? I just want to read something to you real quick. Isaiah 32, real quick, y'all. And verse 5.
Isaiah chapter 32, verse 5.
Come on.
The vile person shall be no more called liberal.
Right. It says the vile person shall no longer be called liberal, right? Because a lot of times the liberal person is the Democrat. But then what? Something sneaks around the side. Oh, black rights. Oh, yeah, but also gay rights. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Read on.
Nor the churl said to be bountiful.
Right, go ahead.
For the vile person will speak villainy.
Right, the vile person will speak villainy. Go ahead.
and his heart will work iniquity.
And his mind will work sin, right? Because there's always some foolishness behind what they present as that gift. There's always some nonsense behind it. Go ahead, read.
To practice hypocrisy.
Go ahead.
And to utter error against the Lord.
Right, go ahead. Right, to utter error against the Lord, right? Now, for instance, like the pride thing and this and that. This is nonsense. Oh, two men can get married. It's nonsense. And it's always coupled with our people for some reason. Go ahead.
Yeah.
To make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail.
Read that next one.
The instruments also of the churl are evil.
Go ahead.
He devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words.
Right. He got devices to destroy the poor with lying words. Oh, no. Listen, if you vote for us, we're going to do this for you. You vote, nothing happens. No. Right? And the people just go further and further into madness. Go ahead. Read on.
Even when the needy speaketh right.
Even when the needy speaketh right. They come up and they say, hey, listen, we need X, we need Y, we need Z. And still nothing, right? But we just wanted to bring that out to show that this whole politics thing is like just nonsense at the end of the day, you know? You want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I thought you were bringing something out.
I was about to bring something out, but go ahead.
Right. And so let me ask you, Adam. So this whole argument of DEI, how did you find yourself in it? You know, because you're on a lot of different shows, and you know, people seek your knowledge on the topic. You know, what got you into this for you to speak out about it?
Well, at the time of speaking out about DEI, I was speaking about all different types of things, especially, you know, race-related topics.
Right.
But when it comes to DEI, all right, for me, I try not to do this too much when it comes to like history. A lot of people go too much into history and not look at what it is today. But if we were to go back to the civil rights rights era, as far as getting rid of Jim Crow, to me, what I've always grown up with is that the point of why Jim Crow was wrong was because it was government enforced separation of people, and it was discriminatory, right? And it's the discrimination that is bad. That's it. Not because discrimination is only bad when it's towards Black people. It's that discrimination is bad, which is why we form stuff like the EEOC, which doesn't say it's for Black people or it's for any particular group. It's saying, period. You're not allowed to do these things, because we've seen what happens in a society where we don't have this type of protection, and one particular group decides that they're going to move a particular way and shut out other people from access to it. So now we have laws that protect everyone, not just Black people, but for everyone. And so when I look at DEI and I'm looking at the list, well, who fits into diversity? And I'm looking down the list. It's every group except for white men. Now, granted, I'm not a white man, but I can tell when something is unfair, right? And so if it's unfair, it's unfair. It doesn't matter if I'm Black or not. And so I'm looking that this is unfair towards white men specifically, because I don't think we should punish people as a group because of a few that have done something wrong. Bob down the street, who's just trying to make it through, who's just trying to get a job, who's never hurt anybody, shouldn't be discriminated against because some hypothetical white guy somewhere else was bad to somebody. Everyone should, in our country, everyone should have an equal shot. You should have a shot. If you get an opportunity and you do well, you should have a shot. So watching DEI come up, what to me, just on its face, seemed unfair to create some sort of policy to basically discriminate against some is still an injustice in our country. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be discriminating against anybody. But then, as you put it earlier, it's, even if I was for DEI, that face of it as this is to help Black people, they always go to, they don't just say the LGBT, they say, well, this is for the Black trans, queer, like they always throw Black in it. They always use the Black identity as the way to kind of soften the blow. I can't believe you're doing this. Do you know how many Black trans women are being affected by this? Do you want them to commit suicide at a higher rate? Like, they always attach Black because there is a sensitivity within our country from people who are outside of being Black towards Black people, right? There is a sensitivity to it. And so that to them, they use Black as a shield from criticism. Right. So if you attack something and they say, you know how many Black people are affected by this? They're using our likeness as a shield from criticism, and everything can be criticized. And so I just started seeing this over and over. I'll give you a great example. I went to see this guy up in the suburbs of Boston, and I'm driving down the street, these big, massive houses, and I'm driving down the street. Every house has a Black Lives Matter and an LGBT flag. And I was like, and it, like, hate has no home here. Like, it was like the internet came alive in front of me.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, I've driven through Black neighborhoods. I've never seen one Black Lives Matter flag. Right. How come every house here, which I know is not filled with a bunch of Black people, like, every house here has a Black Lives Matter flag. And it's because it means something different to them than it would mean to someone like myself.
Exactly.
To them, it's a virtue signal. Look how what I think about the Blacks. Oh, it's that kind of I'm just going to show, but am I going to actually do something? No. I'm not going to do anything. Right. I'm just using Black people to make myself look good. Mm-hmm. And that's what I kept seeing over and over, is that all these corporations were using Black people as a way to make themselves look good. The reason why they didn't take up DEI prior to George Floyd is because they didn't see DEI as beneficial. And then suddenly George Floyd happens, all these riots start happening, and all of them start taking up DEI. And they start hiring all these mediocre college graduates. Most of them are white, some of them are Black. And they just started pushing papers around and started paying them six figures.
But Adam,
and why?
But Adam, hold on. Let me jump in there real quick, right? But that's the point, right? Because you made mention earlier that why should white males be discriminated against because of something that maybe another white man did sometime before? But that's the problem, right? Because our people came here, built the country for free, right? Basically, they had like a 400-year, 350 to 400-year jump start. We came up with many inventions, even including the conveyor belt that makes vehicles and all of that. That was a Black man. That was the Patterson Car Company. They're the one that did that first before Henry Ford. I'm just saying all of this happened, and we were left out, right? We had to build our own communities. Then when that happened and we built our own communities and economic systems, they smashed that, right? So then we couldn't have our economic systems. Then we had to be included with them so they can keep a hold on us. That's really all that inclusion was really about back then, as far as getting us assimilated into the whole situation, right? So now when I look at it, this is just another form of it. I don't, it's not about, you can't really discriminate against white men. That I don't even think that's an actual thing.
They own everything,
right? They got it on lock. Whatever if they choose to go into these particular industries, they're gonna get there. They're gonna get there. I'm not saying our people can't be, because a lot of our people are successful in different in doctors but I shouldn't say doctors, because now our numbers are very, very low in the medical field in regards to being doctors, right? We talked about that not too long ago on the show. But what I'm saying is that we do have some level of success. Our buying power is tremendous, right? We're the biggest consumers in the United States. They said if African Americans were a country by itself, we'd be probably number 9 GDP-wise across the whole earth. That's crazy, right? And to have and to be the so-called minority in this country and have that kind of power is what I think they fear, right? So going back to it, at the end of the day, it's just racism with a different different paintbrush. You know what I mean? But go ahead, man.
Let me get
please.
The scripture, because you brought out something heavy in what you were just saying about how all of including us was just something to be able for them to keep a hold on us, right? Give me 1 Ezra chapter 5 and verse 71.
Bring it out.
Oh, man.
1 Ezra chapter 5. You said
71.
Verse 71.
Come on. No,
We are
72.
Verse 72. But the heathen of the land, lying heavy upon the inhabitants of Judea,
Come on.
and holding them straight, hindered their building.
Hindered us to build economically. What does it say here?
Yeah. Hindered the building.
Hindered us from building economically, hindered us from building our communities.
Right.
Through what? Come on.
And by their secret plots.
By their secret plots, them bringing us in, including us. Come on.
And popular persuasions.
Come on.
And commotions.
Come on.
They hindered the finishing of the building.
They always hindered us from building when we tried to come together.
Right.
This is scriptural. They always did that to us. They always wanted to see us at the bottom. And the only way you can control us being there at the bottom is to bringing us in. Hinder them from growing. And then not only that, after we get them in, let's let them create this dirty rap music. Feed them that.
Right.
Let's make twerking their culture. Feed them that. It's some crazy stuff that they be doing, man. Straight up.
Yeah. You know.
I'll give an example early on, like the things we actually see as black people, right? So we go outside, we'll see the Popeye chicken. Yeah, that's small, the small time. Let's go corporation now, right? So all of our banks were bombed and stolen. All of our hospitals were bombed and stolen, so on and so forth. And now, like Cap, you mentioned, white people had a 400-year head start and an immense support and assistance in building these corporations, right?
Right.
So when I go into a corporation, let's say I go into Harrelson and Kohler's law firm, right? And it's 90% white. That means they're saying, well, we're not discriminating against anybody. It just so happened that 90% of the white people we know are smarter than the Latinos, are smarter than the blacks, and we're just hiring the best, brightest people. That we know that that's not true, right? Because we are the like we mentioned, we are the inventors, right? And then on the flip side, you look at sports, and you look at the NFL, right? It's 53% black men.
53? I thought it was like 85.
It could be. It could have changed. You know what I'm saying? But let's look at it. Type in what's the percentage of black men in the NFL.
Yeah. Keep
even if 53, right? That's a large percentage, right? That's a large percentage, and that's actually hiring the best and the brightest, so on and so forth. But how many black quarterbacks are there? How many black coaches are there? That stuff is starting to increase, but we're seeing a reality of things. I don't necessarily like the crutch that DEI and affirmative action does for our people, but I see the reason why people would have an idea that it's necessary.
Right.
If they're trying to fix a wrong. So when a white person says, well, you're trying to fix a wrong, now you trying to fix that wrong is wrong in me. You know what I'm saying? That's they're using that as and if we're gonna put it in, let's include all of our agendas, and it end up benefiting them more than it benefits us. You know, so that's like the whole look at that chart right there.
Right, yeah, 53. Okay. Yep.
You see that chart? Look at the chart. Click on the chart. So from 1960, it was mostly white men in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? But then once the color barrier breaks open, and now you're starting to see that, oh, these black people are smart, they are superior, they are faster, they are, you know what I'm saying? Now you got the entire switch, and they don't want that to happen with the union. They don't want that to happen with law. They don't want that to happen with, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's a necessary thing to oppress that people. How do you oppress that people? You bring in one, you bring in two, you say he's bright out of the couple. You know what I'm saying? And then you tell the rest of them, well, if you act like him, then all of you guys would. When it's really a thing where they'll pick twos and fews, you know what I'm saying, to include. But then that person, or let's say I get in there or whatever, I have to talk like them. I have to like the same things as them. I can't help my people, so on and so forth. So it's a struggle. It's a struggle. So my main thing is to the people that I know the fix. The fix is God's laws, God's unity amongst our people, right? That's the fix. But to the people that think they need a DEI, they think they need affirmative, what would be the actual a better fix than trying to assimilate? And because I understand you were saying something. I can network. I can meet a few people. They bring me in, right? Mm-hmm. But how could I take that opportunity? Because even if I'm a DEI hire, right, and I'm getting paid, let's say I'm getting paid $90 an hour. That's good for a brother like me, right? Even if I'm a DEI hire and I know it, I'm like, well, I'm getting this money. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if I'm a DEI hire or whatever. My family's eating, so on and so forth, right? So for those twos and fews, it would behoove them to take that opportunity and help the people. You know what I'm saying? But I guess what I want to know is what's a better fix than those two things? Because I don't think they're actually helping us.
Right. What's the better fix? It's a hard question to answer because I don't know what the indicator is for that. I don't know, like if you tell me how to fix it, then I need to know at what state would I know that it's fixed. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
So I think that's the hard part, because I could pick random company and say they only have 6% Black people who are here. Well, then what number for a particular company would be good? Would it be equal to the population of Black people? So if every company had 13% Black people, would we be satisfied? Like, at what point would we say that it is fixed? Or, how do we even know as to why this is a circumstance? This is also why I talk about demographics as far as where people live, because that stuff really matters. So if there's a company that's in Salt Lake City and someone's saying they only have 1% Black people working at their company and they have 2,000 employees, and it's like, well, yeah, because they're in Salt Lake City. Black people don't live there. Yeah, you can't have that outcome because quite literally people don't live there. Right. If you have a particular company that specifies in one particular field, and overwhelmingly it's Asians that go to school for this particular field and they come out and they go there, well, that's just by chance, right? And so is it because of racism? Is it because they're being shut out? Or is it because this is what people are choosing? It's much in the same way for women. Look, there's not enough women in tech. Well, what is enough women in tech? Do we have to have 45% women in tech, 50% women in tech? Or are there not a lot of women in tech because a lot of women aren't interested in technology? Like, that's just, they're into nursing. They're into fields where they take care of people. They're much more people-oriented than they are thing-oriented, like men are, right? But some people might say, well, that's discrimination. They're keeping women out of technology. Or is it just that that's where people end up at for various reasons? So it's. I know you asked a specific question, but it's hard to answer because I don't even know what that would look like. That we fixed it. It's all good. Like, I don't even know how to even tell, if it's even fixed.
And real quick, I'm gonna let you jump in there. It's funny, like you mentioned about tech, right? And having women in tech. Now, mostly women that are in tech, they're programmers, right? For whatever reason. That they're generally programmers. I don't know why that is. Maybe they have a focus. I don't know what it is. But generally, you don't see them like pulling cables, fixing computer. You don't see that. But when it comes to the program, they're in there for whatever reason, right? So you're right. You do have those conditions where sometimes they're skewing towards certain areas, right? So you can't really control that. But I think that the fix would be for us if we had our own companies, right?
Yes,
if we had our own things,
Yeah.
then this would, because we clearly have enough intelligence to have all of these different companies, right? For instance, you said you do some work for the New York Post, let's just say, right? We could have those periodicals. You understand what I'm saying? And have them, but are we gonna get backed, right? Are we gonna have the publishing companies and stuff behind us to put? No, they're not gonna do it, right? When we had the Negro Leagues, they said, "Oh man, the Negro Leagues, they beating us. Let's bring them in," right? Boom, got rid of that. So now we have no league, right? We don't have owners now. Now we're still fighting for owners. In 2025, they're still fighting for black ownership in professional sports. Like, this is crazy, right? These are the things we have to get our minds off of that stuff. Like, we have to actually, and when I say separate, it's not about us like leaving the country or going somewhere. No, but I think the separation of us having these companies that they don't want us to have, they don't allow those companies to flourish, right? And that's why we're in these situations now. And I think that's why we depend, or we think we're supposed to depend on equal opportunity and DEI, because even though you get hired at these companies, right? Because I'm pretty sure most of the people we know, they go to school, they get master's degrees, so on and so forth. They get hired, right? They're getting hired. But it's so far you're going to go, right? And you may have your mind like, I can really do this, but you're never going to get to that point because those spots are locked down. So you have to go start your own thing. And you should be able to start your own thing and have complete dominance and be able to compete against these other. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work for us.
Right.
Well, that's actually the great thing about being in America, and when you talk to people from other countries, and especially if you go to other countries, I'll speak for myself. I started taking a deeper appreciation about living in this country because of other people who come from other countries where they don't have, like how we say, hey, listen, you could just start your own business. For some people, that is nearly impossible for them to do.
Right.
It's highly bureaucratic. You have to have a whole list of criteria, and it's just, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's incredibly difficult to start any sort of business. Whereas here, it takes you 15 minutes, you can get an LLC, right? And you can start doing your thing, and you can sell stuff online. You can do whatever you want to do.
Right.
That entrepreneurial spirit that exists in America, on top of, that's just the government element. If you go to places like the United Kingdom, they have a cultural limitation, right? Where, hey, why are you working so hard? Is literally what people have been told, like Americans who go to work in the UK. Why are you working so hard? You're making us look bad. Like, know your place. Like, that's because they're very much so class oriented.
Right. I heard about
and
that.
So they don't like the climbers. Like, listen, you are what you are, and that's what you are. So stay there because you're making us look bad. Because we're not ambitious. You shouldn't be either. We don't have that problem here. We don't have that cultural limitation. No. So we have less of an excuse for not deciding to build stuff. I started Wrong Speed Publishing because I wanted to start Wrong Speed Publishing. I wanted to work with whoever I want to work with. Right. And I published 2 books on my own where I could have really gone that route of finding some sort of mainstream publisher or anything. Right. But I wanted to say exactly what I wanted to say. I wanted to control my property.
Right.
And so if I can do that, just about anybody can do that. We can start our own businesses. We can hire who we want to hire. We can support certain communities that need support. And we can do things that are beneficial. Matter of fact, I was looking at, and I don't know if you want to go down this avenue.
Let's go.
But I was thinking to myself, I don't know what it's like for you guys out in California, but I was thinking the other day, I think it was like last week. I don't go to fast food too often, but when I go to service jobs and fast food jobs, I noticed that everyone is a grown adult. Like when I was a kid, even when I was in high school,
right.
Everyone that worked at fast food joints, there would be like one 30-something-year-old person who was the manager. Everyone else was teenagers.
That's true. That's true.
Now the teenagers are gone, And I thought to myself, well, why is that the case? So my experience is in New Jersey. New Jersey, I think, has the 5th largest Hispanic population. If I was to go through the drive-through and I was to talk to the person who's right there and look all the way through, everyone there is Hispanic. And it's not the problem of them being Hispanic. It's just that they are very clearly, they're not Hispanic. Like, they weren't born here. They're immigrants to this country. And some of them questionable statuses, let's just say, if we're just being nice. And I'm thinking to myself, the kids have been replaced. You know how beneficial it was for me to have my first job days before I turned the age of 16, to earn my own money, to gain some experience, to understand, like, all these very important things about working for your own, working for yourself,
Right.
gaining something, not waiting for your mom to give you money, but like, you went to work and now you have your own money, so you can spend it however you want to spend it. I just thought to myself, how many teenagers are losing out because of not even years, decades of bad policies, taking away opportunities because of illegal immigration? And I'll say this: I used to work for a consulting company that supported an agency that would help to hire people throughout different industries, usually low-skilled labor. And what they would do is basically hire illegal immigrants, right? But they didn't explicitly say, but a blind man can tell that, I don't know, these people don't drive, they don't speak English, they need interpreters, and they get paid minimum wage. And they hire them like, ridiculous amounts. And then I also noticed that the areas that they were going to when I was younger used to be either majority Black or half and half, are now majority Hispanic. Okay. And when I go and look, they don't hire, it's probably 1% Black Americans. And they're in areas where there could be Black people there, but they don't cater to them. Right. So even for the opportunity, yes, it's low skilled labor. Yes, it's a minimum wage job. But you know how many low skilled labor minimum wage jobs years ago used to turn into an opportunity to maybe get into management? You used to roll into something. You work hard for an opportunity somewhere. Those opportunities gone. When people wax poetically about how boomers used to be able to, or boomers grew up in a household where their father went to one factory job, he had a house, a car, and he took care of 2 kids with his wife. That's gone. Why? Because there are Hispanics that take over all those jobs and low-skilled labor jobs. All these warehouses throughout New Jersey filled with Hispanics. Down the street, factories filled with Hispanics. And this isn't hyperbolic when I say this, because I've physically been inside there. I've talked to these people, and I know how they operate. And it's massive corporations, ones that I can name and you would know who they are, that are doing these things. So if we were to go back to what you were saying before, maybe it's not their intention to block out Black people from having access to jobs, right? Just having a job is incredibly important. If it's minimum wage, that's just what it is. But having a job is incredibly important. And I will tell you, they are not catering to the Black employee. They're in Newark, but they don't hire Black people in Newark. And there's plenty of Black people in Newark. They hire the Hispanics. Like, so that's another big area, because we're usually talking about the higher, the DEI, some white collar job. But what we're also seeing is the diminishing of opportunities on the lower scale, on the lower pay scale, for Black people, just to get an opportunity so they can be employed. And one last thing I'll say, I know I've been talking for a minute, but the last thing I'll say is, where this becomes a massive issue, whereas years ago in that particular factory, let's say they needed 40 people to work at this factory to complete a job. Now they can hire 60, right? Because they all take less. So all of that dilutes the workforce. That dilutes how much money people make. We've been saying for decades that the working class hasn't seen a pay increase. And there's a reason why. And it's because we have an illegal workforce within this country. And they're specifically squashing out opportunities in Black majority areas as well. They move into these areas because some of them are on the lower economic scale. They can afford to live there. 5 or 6 will live in an apartment, and they practice illegal group economics, and that's the outcome that we have here. But it is negatively affecting Black majority areas. For the people who are on the lower economic side, they don't even get an opportunity to get a job because they're not catering to them whatsoever.
Well, Adam, let me tell you this. That also is a setup by the so-called majority, the white people, right? And I'm going to say it like this because you brought up something about working in the factory and then owning homes, right? We did a show on redlining, right, some months ago. And we were bringing out how after World War II, right, everybody was living in the cities, in the projects, right? White people, Black people living in the projects. They were making good money working in those factories. What happened after that is they started shutting the factories down and they started to give the white people money to move into the newly built suburbs in New Jersey, which you know is Levittown. I'm pretty sure you heard of Levittown before, right?
Yeah.
Right? So it's a little bit out there. Like I think mid-Jersey or more South Jersey, you know, going down that way, right? And they built, that was like the first suburbs in the history of the United States. And they gave these people money to move out there, but just the white people, right? They left our people back, pulled away all the services to the projects and everything, and that's what you see today, the beat-down projects, all of that. They had the homes. That's how they were able to work the factory job and then have the house. It wasn't fair what took place. They were given that, right? Because they were making the same money as those Black people in the factories. But then when it came time, it was like, yo, take this money, go out there. They built their wealth over time, what you know as generational wealth, and they wound up building that. And now they sit in a position, so now they don't care. It's like, okay, now we have these companies, now we're gonna hire so-called immigrants, right? And push out. Again, we're always gonna feel the brunt of that, right? Mm-hmm. But that's why America today, it as presently constructed, it won't be able to stand. It's impossible because it's just too much foolishness going on. I'm going to read something to you from the Bible. I'm going to read something real quick. Go to Habakkuk chapter 2, all right? Read in verse 12, right? Because everything that this country does is against us. They used us to build it. Then when we try to get our own, no, you're smashed. Then we can't even, like you brought out, every teenager used to work. I mean, me personally, when I went to work at I was like 16. I walked in there. They was like, okay, grab this mop. I'll be right back. As soon as the guy left, I just ran out the place. I couldn't do it. I couldn't work the fast food spot. But I wound up working at JFK in a fast food place in there, right? Like, you know, whatever. So you're right. Like 16 years old, you're out there working, 15, and you getting your cool. But you're right. You don't see kids working like that anymore, right? It's totally different. And it's all for a reason, right? Read that real quick.
Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 12.
Come on.
Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood.
It says, woe to him, destruction to him that buildeth a town with blood. Meaning what? All these cities, America, built it with blood on the backs of the Native Americans, on the backs of Black people, on the backs of the Hispanic people, right? Because remember, California, Texas, Arizona, all that was Mexico. All that was Mexico. They smashed it, took it, got rid of them. Now they're illegal aliens. How you illegal alien when you were here the whole time? Right. They stole the place. Go ahead.
And establisheth a city by iniquity.
Right, and they established this place through sin. There's no way it's gonna stand, and it continues to go. They're never fixing it. They can't fix it. Even today, you have people fighting for reparations, right? It's never gonna happen. If they were to pay out reparations, the country would just go bankrupt, supposedly, right? Because they know they just print money. But they would have to pay Black people. After they pay Black people, then what? In America. Then they would have to pay the ones in the Caribbean. Then they got to pay the ones in England. Then they got to pay the Native Americans. It could never happen. You know? So there's no way for us to gain any ground. We'll wind up always being individuals, right? Because for you, Adam, you have a family. You got to take care of your family. So you can't worry about, well, listen, let's get together and make sure that we have it. No, you got to handle your business. I got to handle my business. Everybody got to handle their business. But then we never come together as a family because we know once we do that, we're going to be targeted, right? Look at all our famous ball players and entertainers or whatever. They're not allowed to put something together. They're not. By the time they start putting something together, man, they're smashed. These guys are making a tremendous amount of money.
Yeah.
You know, they would have a credit line of $1 billion if they got together. Yeah. There's no bank out there that won't bankroll these guys for $1 billion. They can go in and build schools and through every city. Yep. They could literally rebuild all the inner cities. And I'm not saying just in just a little time frame of one basketball career. I'm saying from like going back from the 80s all the way till now. And if we all were together and force ourselves and say, listen, this is what we're going to do for our people. We make certain amount of money. Everybody put in this, and we're going to build. We're going to get the, whatever. You know that there's ways to do this because this is what every culture has done.
Right.
But our culture, we can't get it done because we're stopped. Even when you go into bank loans, I was telling somebody there's you might know Carver Bank, right? You ever heard of Carver Bank? It's in New York.
No.
It's black owned. It's not very big anymore. But one day it was like, okay, we're looking for a business loan. So go to Carver Bank. They're black, right? They go in the bank. They said, listen, we're only giving out $1,500 maximum for a business. I said, $1,500. What is that going to do? They was like, yeah, because nobody was paying back the loan, so that's as high as we're going to go. What bank does that? Every bank has defaulted loans. So now when you go to Chase or any one of these banks, you think they're going to give you $500,000 if you have what's necessary to give it to you?
Right.
What does the other guy defaulting on his loan have to do with you? But now it's a black bank. Now the most we can do is $1,500. You see what I'm saying? It's always something, But I just want to throw that out there, Adam. You know how it is, man. Yeah, I know I didn't really ask a question. I'm making a statement, but this is what it is. I want to get into something real quick with you, Adam. So you wrote these books, and I want to start with the second one that you wrote, The Children Left Behind.
Yeah, The Children We Left Behind.
The Children We Left Behind. So get into that a little bit.
Yeah, the general thesis of the book is that the major social issues that we often talk about and complain about, homelessness, drug addiction, sexual promiscuity,
right? Okay.
Criminality, all these major social issues, generally speaking, have a common root. And the common root is family separation. Statistic after statistic, you can look at incarceration rates and the people who are incarcerated. Actually, you can even look at juvie. How many of these kids in juvie are coming from homes where there's family separation, meaning that the mother and the father aren't present within the home? How many of them are coming from foster care, which means that both parents were insufficient for raising them and completely abandoned? So you look at all of these, and even children of divorce. Children of divorce, I think we minimize the impact on them and how they may fare because, it's like, oh, well, divorce is so common, it's not that big of a deal. But in many cases, divorces are, in some cases, divorces are worse for kids than growing up, let's say, in a single parent home. And it's because for them, their everything that they knew was just taken away rather than growing up and your father's just not around. And you have to deal with that in one particular sense.
Right.
But the general thesis is that these major issues have a common root cause. And if in these situations are the fringe, right? So obviously, most people who grow up in a single parent home aren't part of the criminal element or anything like that. But there are always going to be the fringe element with any issue. And so if we really care about these problems and we want them to lessen, right, they'll never completely go away. There'll always be some sort of criminal element. There'll always be some sort of problems. But if we want to decrease it, then we actually have to decrease the family separation issue. And it goes beyond, well, just stay together, just stay together. It starts before you even meet that person. I'm talking about family planning. For myself, I had my son out of wedlock because it was never emphasized as to, one, how to find an appropriate partner. It was never emphasized that there's an order to these things.
There you go. I like that.
Right.
Yeah. So but my responsibility as an adult who now understands this to my son, who is 19, which I've emphasized with him for many years now, is that there is an order to this. And you get married. First, I taught him what to look for.
You talking good stuff right now, Adam. You talking the right thing, bro. These are the magic words that we need to hear. But go ahead, bro.
I taught him what to look for, right? Because a lot of guys, and I'll include myself at one point in time, you find a chick who just likes you, you have sex with her, it rolls into a relationship. Next thing you know, you're getting married. But why did you marry her? Right? You never ask these questions, and then you're surprised 5 years in, you're getting divorced, or that she's a terrible mother, right? So you have to be very conscious of these things. And so I taught my son to be very conscious of these things. When he had like some girl that liked him, I would ask him, what's her relationship like with her father? And tumultuous. And then she started doing overtly sexual things. And I'm like, watch out for that. And he ended it. He's just like, no, I'm not comfortable with this, and stopped it. But he's just being very conscious of these things, because he lives in a world where there are a lot of hurt children who are finding chaotic ways to express themselves. And it's up to us whether we accept these people in relationships, or we deny these people in relationships. But on the flip side, what I'm talking about is parental responsibility. And the book is highly critical of parental selfishness. And so I talk about my father as being a selfish parent who chose not to involve himself in my life. And it took me years to understand and accept that my father did not love me, from the simple fact that love equals sacrifice. And my father never really sacrificed for me. He came around when he chose to, and it was very seldom in my life. He chose to be a stranger. He chose not to be involved. And especially being an active father in my son's life, and I know what I would sacrifice and what I have sacrificed and what I would do for my son. My father did not come anywhere close to the bare minimum of being a good father or a loving father. So I know my circumstance is very personal to me, but as I'm looking around me, I'm hearing story after story. I've written things for the New York Post. I would get people who respond to me. Many of them are not Black, and they have the same exact issue. They grew up abandoned by their parents, foster care. Like, they have all these different elements, and they suffered in the same way that I suffered, with suicidal ideation and depression, low self-esteem, all these different things that I suffered with for many decades. So the book is a very, very personal book, because there's a lot of storytelling within it for a purpose. But it is also a healing book, because I do talk about forgiveness. And forgiveness is for yourself, not the other person. It's so you release that anger, that animosity, so you can move forward. But I also want to allow an opportunity for us to potentially, if the opportunity is there, to reconnect with our parents, or at least understand our parents who have let us down, if that opportunity presents itself. So I've said, if my father was still alive and he apologized and acknowledged his shortcomings, I'd be open to starting a new relationship with my father as an adult man. So I don't hold any animosity towards my father.
Right. And you brought up an excellent point when you talked about how you meet a chick, you do this and that, right? So with us, in our organization, or people say church, right? We push the family very heavily, right? We're not into, there's no boyfriend and girlfriend in here, none of that. It has to be a marriage. But that doesn't mean you just walk right in and marry, right? Like you said, there has to be some order to things, right? You got to find out what this person is about. We have liaisons, so to speak, right? There's no arranged marriage, but there is a vetting process, so to speak, right? So let's say it's Adam. Okay, Adam, do you have a job? Yes, I'm a writer, right? XYZ, IT, boom, boom, boom. Okay, cool. Hey, my sister, what do you do? Nothing. Okay, well, maybe you're not the one for Adam. Right. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right? So you got to find something that makes sense, and then you have a process to where you prove each other, and then therefore you get married, right? But the Bible discusses that, and so that's what for our people, we deal with the Bible, deal with the scriptures heavily to give us that guidance. Because like you said, even I knew my father. My father, split up with my mother after a time, right? But he was around. I knew him, and we were pretty close, right? But there was never a conversation of, okay, son, listen, the woman should be like this, it should be like that, boom, boom, boom. I had that kind of discussion with my son, but he didn't have that with me because back then, it was just like, oh, meet a girl and you get married and, whatever, nobody cared. You know what I'm saying? Right. It was like, it was just, whatever happens, happens, right? But I just want to read something to you real quick out of the Bible. And I'm going to tell you something. Even in churches, they don't really push this.
No.
Right? They have marriages and weddings in the church, but they don't really push the reality of what God is trying to show us, right, as building families and really teaching these kids, right? But give me Hebrews 13:4 real quick.
Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 4. Marriage is honorable in all.
Right. It says marriage is honorable in all. Go ahead.
And the bed undefiled.
And the bed undefiled, right? Because when you just meet that chick and lay up with her, this is against God's laws. Anything is possible after that, right? Because you could possibly get a disease. Or, like you said, you get her pregnant, but now you're dealing with a dragon. now you got a crazy woman who's now the mother of your child. You're in child support. You're going to war. It never ends. It's madness, right? Because what?
Right.
You didn't properly vet this woman. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have the right counsel, right? Read on.
But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge.
Right. So if you constantly whoring around as a man, laying up with everything, you're gonna get judged, and that's many ways, right? That's right. Like I said, diseases, so on and so forth. What we got on the screen right now, Adam, is all of the different weddings that we've had over the years. I mean, it's been I don't know, hundreds, right? Yeah. And when we have these weddings, we have them live on YouTube, right? So people could actually see how our people get down or how we're doing it in our organization or in our church, that we're pushing that so people understand, okay, listen, when you come through, we're expecting, if you do want to get married, then this is what it is. Building families, having children, and then we all our families are connected and we're building what? A community, right? You're building that how can I say, a nation, right? You're building a nation. And now you're able to come and you need help with something. Now you got many people you can talk to. You have these counselors. You have all of this that you can lean on. And that's what our people are missing because we don't have that guide. You know what I mean? And like you said, Adam, you can network. You can you have different people of different nationalities and things that you work with and all of that. And all of us are do that clearly, right? But when it's all said and done, when everybody goes back to their ethnicity and their nation, they have something to go to. Yeah. Us, we're still scrambling. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So we have to get ourselves together, man. Like the Bible says, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired, right? And you mentioned something about low self-esteem. All of this is leading back really to the topic of DEI because that's where our head is. Oh, we need to. They have to give us a help. They have to do this because we're not built up.
Right.
We don't know our history. We don't know who we are as a people. So it's only thing we know is we came as slaves. Right. Prior to that, we know nothing. Right? When we ask, okay, where we from? Oh, Africa. Where? Probably Ghana.
I don't know, George.
Right. Right.
That's real.
Maybe Ghana. It could be Nigeria. Oh, let me take a DNA test. They say I'm 3 parts this and 100 parts of this and that. Right. We're going to show you something real quick. Watch this, Adam. Bring that up on the screen. Right. Bring this up on the screen. So this right here. I wish we had. Where's the the description. Why would you bring that up with no description? That's crazy. Drop it. Find the one with the description. We don't waste time. Drop it, get rid of it, and bring up the one with the description because that doesn't make sense. Right. Okay, so what we wanted to show you was some art from the Middle Ages, what they call the Dark Ages, right? When we were all in school, they would talk about the Dark Ages, right? So, Adam, I'm going to ask you a question. What did they tell us the Dark Ages was?
You know, it's funny. I don't remember why it was called the Dark Ages.
Exactly. So they called the Dark Ages supposedly because it was the dark times. Everything was crazy. Everything was tumultuous.
Yeah, people was getting sick all over the place.
Right. The Black Plague and all of this, right? But now we're going to show you some pictures from the Dark Ages and why they felt it was dark, right? Did y'all guys find that? We had a whole folder of it. I don't know what you guys are pulling up back there. Come on, these guys are slow motion. We're gonna have to go to commercial break and start. Right.
We might have to get some diversity in there.
Hey, Adam, these guys are DEI hires. For real. Okay, no one can read that. This is crazy. Like, what are we doing? Can you read
Zoom
that,
in
bro?
a little bit. Zoom in at the bottom.
Blow it up a little.
Okay, there you go.
All right. It says painted panel from the outer right hand wing of Polytyche. The young man wears the crown of a nobleman and carries the red and white military pennant and shield of the Holy Roman Empire, circa 1447, from Wiener Neustadt Abbey, Stephansdom, Vienna. In typical albino fashion, he is claimed to be Saint Maurice.
Right. Now scroll down. Let's see Saint Maurice, right? So, Adam, this was one of the soldiers who was who was in the Roman Empire, and he had his own platoon, which was I think he had about 7,000 troops in there, all black. They were all Israelites, right? All Jews. Okay. And so this is what we're seeing. This is the Dark Ages, right? So from the time we ruled Europe, from probably around the 700s, close to 1,000 years, black people ruled Europe, known as the Moors, right? We were never taught that in school. They called it the Dark Ages. Guess why? Because dark people ruled those ages.
Right.
You know? But they told us it was a time of famine and this and that. No, it was their time of famine, right? So all of these pictures here, these are all part of our people that was ruling during Europe. They call everybody Saint Maurice, but it was others, right? And these are some of the pictures. We have some others with some descriptions showing you the wars that were taking place between our people, the Moors, and white people during that time, right? So like today when we see, okay, like this one right here, if you notice, Adam, in the castles, you see black people in the castles, right? So this was the Moors in Germany, I believe. This is around in I think the 1100s or so, right? 1200s. I'm not exact. I can't remember exactly. But when you look in the windows, you see all black people fighting, and then you look in the left, and you see white people fighting against them, right? And this is what happened during those Dark Ages, where you had white people fighting against the Moors, the black people who were the Jews, known as the Israelites, but they were some of them were Muslim, and some of them weren't, following God at all. But those were our people, right? And these are the tapestries that you see. We got many of them. These are in books, in colleges, hidden right in plain view. But this is what our people were doing. We were ruling Europe, and then we some of us was in Africa. Then we got kicked out of Spain, so on and so forth. You guys can drop that. We can go back to Adam, right? And so when we do say youth violence, seminars and things like that, we bring this out for the children to see, and we have a lot more just for them to see their heritage. That it's not just, oh, we came out of Africa or we were slaves and this and that. No, it was way before. You know what I'm saying? Our people, we went into Africa, but we were in Europe. Right. We were on this side of the world as well. A lot was going on. So what we see in here was a war that took place. We got beat. Right? Because the Lord allowed it. So what we're dealing with now, we're in a captivity. We just don't know this, right? And the victor is over us, stopping us from doing this, from really fully. But that time is going to come to an end. But we just wanted to show you that, to show that our history is deep. Yeah. And we use this for our children to not own to build them. You know what I'm saying? That self-esteem that you talked about so much. The beautiful thing about in our congregation, a lot of the children, their fathers are here. Most of the fathers are here. So they grew up with their dad. It's much different, right? But the ones who come in without their fathers, now we're their fathers, right? So we're teaching them everything they need to know, right? Whatever problems they got, they can come to us, whatever. We're teaching them this. We're teaching them whatever, basics. And of course, they're going to school and they're learning what they need to know, right? But I just wanted to show you that to back up what you were saying in the book, because it's very important. A father's role is crazy important with a child, and probably, I don't want to say more important, but you have to have the father there. It's a big difference. You going to say something, bro?
No, I'm going to let him.
Okay.
Let him
go ahead, Adam. I'm sorry.
No, and I appreciate you sharing that with me. The other part I would bring up, and I'll say this includes people I know in my life, is that there is an element of that's their problem. That's not my business.
Right.
When it comes to the parents who are mistreating their children or abandoning their children. One of the things while writing this book was there's a lot of mystery about my father. I just don't know a lot about him.
Right.
So while writing the book, like for the first time, I had these really I had these questions for my mom that only she could answer because he's no longer alive. And she was answering these things. Like, for example, I found out that I have a sister. But he had zero relationship with that child. So I have a sister somewhere. I've not with his wife, some other woman somewhere out there. No idea.
Right.
So I'm learning all these different things. And for the first time, because I found out my father had died years ago because my mother happened to Google his name and saw the obituary for him. And that was about 3 months after he actually died. So for the first time, I was like, let me Google his name, see what comes up. And I go to the funeral home and I see these pictures of him and I see all these people around him. And I'm thinking to myself, I have no idea who these people are. And then I thought to myself, how many of these people know that he abandoned his kids? How many of these people know that he hasn't talked to his children? My sister included, who had a little bit of a better relationship with him than I did. But he stopped talking to my sister probably like 15 years before he passed away. I didn't talk to my father. The last time I saw my father, I was 16. The last time I talked to him, I was 21. And he passed away, I think 2018. So I thought to myself, how many of these people know what he has done or what he has not done as a father? And I'm thinking about other examples of all these people who invite this person over to the cookout. They love on them, talk to them every day, laugh with them, and they all know that he hasn't seen his kid since they were an infant. No one says anything. It's not like it's a secret. It's not like it's hidden. Everyone knows, and no one calls them out on it.
Right.
And that's the type of thing. When I started talking about this, I started getting a lot of people from different arenas who said, actually, I know someone like that. And you know what? You're right. I didn't say anything. Or like, yeah, that was my childhood where no one said anything. And just over and over and over. Obviously, we have a bunch of kids out there who are being neglected and abandoned, some by their father, some by their mother. And there are obviously people around these people, and yet they get to feel comfortable. And that's why I called it this chapter called Socially Comfortable Terrible Parents. They're allowed to be comfortable. Socially, they're fine. Everyone knows their dirt. So it's not even that it's a secret and no one knows. Everyone knows their dirt. No one says anything. They're allowed to be comfortable. They care more about the relationship than they do about the welfare of the child. So I think that when we talk about social responsibility, it's hard for people to call out other people, especially ones that they have a close relationship with, but it's necessary too. And there are context clues beyond abandonment. If you see that this kid is always hungry, like, start taking notes of that. If you hear the parents say they stole food, that's a clear indicator that the child's being abused. If you see that this kid is always dirty, there's a context clue that they're being mistreated. Like, are you noticing these things and acting on it, or are you noticing these things and not saying anything because you don't want to believe that such and such would do such a thing? So, yeah, I do think there's just an element of the adults letting down the kids, even the adults who aren't the parents of the children. There is a social responsibility we should actually have. And it's not illegal to abandon your kids, right? But there should be a social ramification for doing so.
Right.
Yeah.
And like you said, social ramification, that doesn't happen when you're not a nation. And there's the trick right there. So Now, if I can get you to think as an individual, like when we was talking about the work thing, you said some of the solutions. I know the solutions, not because of my wisdom, but I read it out of the Bible, right? God gave us the solutions, but the church is not reading them, right? But some of us naturally say the solutions because you feel it, right? You said, well, I started a publishing company. I wrote my book. Why you can't do the same thing, right? That's a good thing. How do you bring that to your people now? You know what I'm saying? Because one person doing it is good for the person, right? But if the nation is not doing it, then that individual can be successful in somebody else's society but never create their own, right? So, well, the solution is unity. And if we not a nation, why would I care if you leave your kids? Them your kids. You know what I'm saying? Now, that's not how you feel as a child. As a child, you feeling the brunt of that. You know what I'm saying? Like this is so wrong or whatever. But if we all individuals, we all doing our own thing. But now here's the thing. When God's calling us, he's commanding us to become a people again, right? We got to know our identity again. Now it's important for me to say, hey, you got to go take care of your son, man. 2 Corinthians 3:10 say if you don't take care of your own, you worse than an infidel. Now it is social. Now not only that is when I see a young girl dressed immodestly, individuals say, oh, she doing her own thing. Got to do her thing. But if we a social community, if we a nation of people, that make us all look bad. So now I say, hey, sis, go put some clothes on. You know what I'm saying? If I see a young man that's lazy, say, hey, man, you can't be out here selling no drugs. You got to go get a job because it make us all look bad. So the fix is to know who we are first and foremost, right? You saying some good stuff, man. Marriage, right? Hey, you can't have no girlfriend, man. You need to make that honest woman. You need to marry that sister.
Right.
Or I could be like, hey, man, his brother doing his thing. Because he's an individual. I'm an individual. We got to kill that individuality thing. You see what I'm saying? You said entrepreneurship, A1. That is key because now this board is monopolized. It's monopolized. All right? So no matter how many times we go around, we're going to be paying. If they paid us reparations, we got enough money to own some of this board. You see what I'm saying? So that's not going to happen. They're not going to allow a ball player or anybody of our people, right, that have money. They're not going to allow us to purchase anything substantial to help our people. If you do get successful, you have to use that amongst us. That's the only way we're going to accept it, right? So us being a people have to be comfortable with taking LeBron James is not going to make as much as he would in the NBA, but if he started his own league, he would be richer in spirit but less in money. But his people would rise with him.
Hey, let me jump on that real quick because LeBron is trying to start a league. And you know what they said? They said he's disloyal. What? I just heard that last week. But go ahead. I just want to jump in there just to say what happens when you want to do your own thing. Yeah. Right? But go ahead.
They'll ostracize that. They'll make it look bad. Now you're leaving us out. That's reverse racism. No, because who wouldn't hire their own people? Come on now. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's why the Chinese people have the KFCs and the Popeyes chicken. Who wouldn't do that? The white man, his law firm, if he want to hire all white people, why wouldn't he do that?
Right.
But why when I do it, it's a problem. Now it's reverse racism. They make you feel bad about having your people being. Why has it got to be a black thing? Why you got to every organization we try to set up, we can't put black in it. We got to include this, that, and third. Why we just can't say this is a black youth program or, you know what I'm saying, Hispanic youth? But why we can't say that? Because now we're leaving them out? No, we got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? God right. Tell us to be, let's just read it real quick. Give me 2 Corinthians 6:17. I'll read it. That's it. I'll read it real quick because, like I said, I know the solution. I just want to hear you say it. I want to hear you say it. And I know you feel it. A lot of us growing our beards out for some reason because the Lord's stirring up the spirit. Hey, beards is in. Sisters got hair wraps now. You know what I'm saying? He putting the spirit on us to wake up at some point. So watch this.
2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 17. Wherefore, come out from among them and be ye separate.
What does that
saith
mean?
The Lord.
What does that mean? Why is that written there? Why did God write that in his Bible, in the New Testament? for us to come out of Babylon and be separate, right? Does that mean come out of the land? No. It's saying come out of the philosophy, come out of their mindset, and be separate. Right. Now, after we separate, what do we do? Zephaniah 2:1. After we separate, right? Okay, you got your corporation, you're gonna hire one or two of us. We're gonna make some good money. I'm gonna make that $90 an hour. But what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with the 90? Watch this.
Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1.
Come on.
Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together. O nation not desired.
Separate and gather together. This is what this is the whole thing. Love your neighbors, love yourself. The great two commandments. Love your neighbor and love God. You know what I'm saying? Your neighbor is your people in the Bible. He's saying love your people and love God. It's easy. But it's like we're trying to, since we don't know we are people, we're trying to figure it out. Like, well, let's try this, let's try that. But the main thing is to know who we are. Get married, right? This Bible is full of moral laws, how to deal with brother. Right. How to deal with, hey, if you steal from me, you know what I'm saying? You got to pay me this, or if I see your dog get lost, right? I got to bring it back to you. You know what I'm saying? Even if I don't like you, it's moral standards here. We cannot allow whores of the daughters of Israel or sodomite. It's written here. It say the land fall to whoredom when we do those things. Right. So if we follow this, we got moral standards. Yeah, we got moral standards. I can't hate you in my heart. You know what I'm saying? I have to help you, so on and so forth. So if we apply these things, we would be successful.
Right. And it was by design that they took this stuff away from us, because they know in the commandments we thrive. They know we was when we stuck together and did the things that Officer Judah was speaking about, that we rose. We always rose. Give me Judah 5:19 or 20. 5 and 19. Or is it 20? 20 and 21, I mean.
The book of
Judah.
Judah.
To the point.
Chapter 5 and verse 20. Come on. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor.
Start at 17 and then jump to 20.
Verse 17. And whilst they sin not before their God.
When we kept the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments, come on, historically, come on.
They prospered.
We prospered above every nation. Why? Because we treated each other the right way. We was fair amongst one another. Come on.
Because the God that hateth iniquity was with them.
He was with us. Why? Because we stayed in line. We followed the rules, how they were supposed to go. We treated each other how we were supposed to treat each other. But watch this.
Verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor.
No, keep reading on 17. I'm sorry. I mean, go into 18.
Verse 18. But when they departed from the way.
When we departed from God's way, our nationality, our culture, our heritage, God's law, which is all of the same, the last three things that I just named. Go ahead.
Which he had appointed them. They were destroyed in many battles.
We were destroyed on every playing field, every battlefield. We lost the spiritual battle, the physical battle, the emotional battle. Every single last battle we lost. Why? Because we stepped away from our culture. We stepped away. We wanted to be like everybody else. Right. That was the main downfall of our nation, is that we wanted to be like everybody else. Historically, because you can read about it. Come on.
And were led captives into a land that was not theirs.
And then we were led captives. Jump to 20. Let me get to the finish of it.
Verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people.
If we can get these people to, what is the error? Finish reading it.
And they sin against their God.
You see what the error is? These are two people, un-Israelite people, having a conversation about us. He says, look, if we could get them to go against their morals, if we can get them to go against their laws, we can get them to hate each other. Come on.
And they sin against their God. Let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
Consider this one thing. This is how we gonna overcome them. It's about to say that, actually. Read it.
And let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
And they overcame us by what? By putting us against one another, by snatching away our culture. Not only take it, because if you look at it, they say every nationality on the planet been through slavery, but it's only one people that's been through slavery and lost their nationality, their culture, their heritage, and their land. Look it up. Go ahead.
But if there be no iniquity in their nation.
But the flip side, if it don't be nothing and they ain't got nothing going on and they keeping God's commandments and they sticking together how the scriptures say,
Let my Lord now pass by.
Leave them Israelite men alone. Leave that nation alone. Come on, why?
Lest their Lord defend them.
Because we gonna be defended. We ain't getting no our defense is terrible right now because we not keeping the commandments. It's horrible, and they able to overcome us because they able to push that rap music in our communities. That's making our young children kill one another. They pushing whoredom in our communities, which is making 14, 15, 16-year-old kids have babies. That's where all of the inmates is coming from. Go ahead. I mean, is that it on that?
No, there's more.
Come on.
And their God be for them.
And our God be for us. Right now, we are people that don't have our God for us. We just now coming back into the mindset of God's people. So he fighting for us a little something. If you see through all out the world, some type of stuff. Some stuff is going right for us right now. Why? It's because God's prophets is teaching his word back in the earth again, teaching the people to come together again, teaching the people to come out of the mindset of Babylon and be separate, come back to being that holy people. That's the solution to it. The solution to it is giving us our nationality back, giving us our culture back. Because once we have those things, we're gonna be able to see the whole then. Like, oh man, you trying to get me to kill my brother. You could walk right around it now. We the Israelites, we God's greatest creation. We the chosen people. If our kids knew that, and some of these adults knew that, we would act a different way.
Right. And with all of these new policies and everything coming up, right? Because you brought it up as far as we talked about DEI. We have now they got ICE going crazy, right? But now it's coming to the fact that they said they want to deport some black people if they commit a crime. Adam, where are you getting deported to? I want to know where brothers going to get deported to. This is insane.
I've heard that.
Yeah, this is what he was talking about. Trump was talking about that some people are going to get deported if they commit a crime. And they were going to wind up going to, what's that place? Alligator? It's that new prison that they built or whatever. I forgot the name of it, but Alligator Alcatraz.
Alligator one, and it's early, it's late at night.
Right,
so
I'm sorry.
I
know we kept you long. Adam. I know you forgot
it's
about
all good.
that.
This has been good.
Yeah.
I believe that is located in Florida.
Yes.
Now, I will say one thing that has me. Nothing has actually happened. So I'm not trying to be an alarmist or anything, but I know what's happening in El Salvador, where they basically rounded up all the gang members and put them into this maximum security prison indefinitely, basically through an emergency order.
Right.
Right.
For real. Yep.
That wouldn't be the thing that we do in the United States because there'd be all types of law. But you know what? That's El Salvador's issue. You guys deal with that. If that's what you want, then that's what you want. My concern is because I've heard, not necessarily from Trump, I'm trying to remember if I heard from Trump, people who might be circling him, is this idea of almost outsourcing prisons. So, you know what? Instead of us locking up all these people who, let's say they did commit a crime in the United States, why don't we send them over there? They're really good at that jail stuff over there, and they'll serve their sentence over there. I'm very concerned about that.
That's happening, Adam. When I say happening, not like you said, we haven't heard word of anything like that, but that is where it's going. Because remember, you brought out something about us not, the prison system and so on and so forth, right? School to prison pipeline. You didn't say those words, but I'm saying it now, right? And what happens is that you understand the privatization of the prisons, right? It is big business. So why wouldn't they take that business overseas just like they've done every other business, right? So instead of us creating steel here, now we buy steel overseas. But there's American businessmen that's invested in those steel companies over there, right? So it's the same thing with the jails, like you just brought up. That was beautiful what you just brought up, because I think America has something to do with that situation in El Salvador, believe it or not. I think we have I think the United States has their hands in that. So imagine now if they take Epstein's old island and put a bunch of jails there, right? Yeah. Think about it. And then they say no, that's an American what they call it, like a
Facility.
territory,
Yeah.
right? And now everybody goes there. Your family can't see you. You're done. And that'll be an indefinite situation. Like they can say anything. Like this is where we're at. You know, it's that crazy, and it's gonna be our people that's suffering that. It's not gonna be nobody else. It's gonna be our people that's suffering that.
Did y'all see on the news today? Today, President Trump declared. You remember George Bush declared war on drugs?
Right.
You remember who that actually targeted, right? That was talking about our people. Stop and frisk. That was talking about our people, right?
Sure.
So now he's in Washington D.C. and he wants to declare war on crime. He says crime has gotten too bad in Washington D.C. He's bringing the military in, right? But in 2025, Washington D.C. has a 30% decrease in crime.
Right.
So now they're going in, bringing army in. So what does that mean? Jails are going to be filled up with who? Our people. Who's doing the crime? Not because we necessarily criminals, but broke people steal. Right. You know what I'm saying? Broke people that can't get the corporate job or whatever, they sell drugs. They do these things because they're survived. They don't know no other way. We need to teach them that way. But until then, they're in perfect position to be in this trap. Now we can fill those jails. And if we want to deport some people, guess who we're going to deport because of crime? Mm-hmm. Black people from D.C. And then he said he's going to move it to Chicago and other crime-ridden areas.
That's the point.
You see what? And so now, guess what? We was like, oh yeah, the Mexicans didn't get deported. Yeah, and then now we gonna get opportunity. But here come phase two. Right. Phase two now is coming around to us because blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are all the 12 tribes of Israel.
That's right.
You know what 100%. I'm saying? So when they once they get one, it's coming to us. It's coming to us for sure. They taking the Hispanic workforce and they replacing it with Indians, Russians, Ukrainians. You starting to see them on the job now. It ain't more black people getting jobs that they're getting out. I'm seeing an increase in Ukrainians. It's a whole neighborhood of Ukrainians now. It's a whole neighborhood of Russians now. It's a whole neighborhood of Arabs now in black communities where they used to be Mexicans. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So now it's not like we're increasing because they're being deported. And I know the thought. It's like, okay, they're going to be out. That's going to increase more opportunity for us. No. This place was built on immigration. So guess what they're doing? They're taking away the so-called Hispanic immigrants and they bringing in European immigrants. They're bringing in Arab immigrants, Indian immigrants. You know what I'm saying? They're giving them money to establish communities while they're taking the opportunities from us. You know what I'm saying? So the key, the answer the answer you said without knowing you said it is what are you saying? Becoming self-sufficient, becoming a man in this society, right? To be a child is to have things provided for you. So I go to work, have this man give me a check so I can provide for my family. But a man gonna do his own thing. We didn't know we could do that at first. We in a perfect place and opportunity where we could do that. We not in a third world country where it's impossible. You could start an LLC. You saying the fix. You know what I'm saying? You saying it, man. Marriage, you know. So that's what I'm digging. You saying the things the Bible was saying. Yeah. Unity.
You know, and real quick, going into that, we brought out before. It was a few shows back, but during the time of when the immigrants, the European immigrants, were coming over, going through Liberty Island, you know, Statue of Liberty and all of that, right? Ellis Island. It was close to 2 million of them that was coming into America. While that was happening, close to 2 million so-called Mexicans were being put out of the country. It's always some kind of game being played. You know, we just read that. We couldn't believe. When I read it, I couldn't believe it, right? And that's when you have Trump saying, "Make America great again." This is what he's talking about. To have them be complete rulers, or so to speak, right? Because you can't get rid of because at the end of the day, without us, this place can't stand. No, I'm just being honest with you, right? The scriptures say that we are the salt of the earth. And if the salt has lost its savor, then I'm paraphrasing, where's the flavor at, right? Wherever we are, and I'm going to say this to you, Adam, because this is the real deal, right? Wherever our people were enslaved, that place was the top nation on earth.
Yes, sir.
Right? Yep. Rome, when it was the Roman Empire, our people were there. A lot of people don't know that. We were there, slaves. You know what I mean? We were being, or if you don't want to call it complete chattel slavery, we were being ruled at that time until Septimius Severus, right, an Israelite, a black man, he became the ruler, right, of Rome, and it was 8 black rulers after that, right? So if you see the movie Gladiator, Denzel Washington, they kind of messed up that whole situation, but Denzel Washington's character really was supposed to be Septimius Severus, right? But he was older than when the real Septimius Severus was young at the time or younger. He took over. He was a soldier. He took over and so on and so forth. But wherever we were at, obviously America, we came here. You had the Songhai Empire. Our people were there. It was great. Once we were taken out of there, fell to the ground. Yeah, wherever we at, that's where things blow up, because we those people. You know what I'm saying? So although they treat us like this, they don't really want us to leave.
No, they don't.
They don't really want us to leave, because they're going to let us leave a long time ago. They're not going to do it, right? But we just wanted to bring that to you. Adam, we've been holding you, man, and we appreciate you, bro, for real. We appreciate you. I just want to read one more before I give you the last one, because I know we didn't get a chance to touch your other book. But, give me what's that? Lamentations about
4?
Lamentations 4, right?
17.
That's it.
Right. Hey, they want us here, but they want us dead here. They want us to be mindless. They want us to think, live, eat, talk, just like them.
Right. Right. We're gonna read this for you real quick, Adam.
Lamentations chapter 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Right. A lot of our people believing that America is going to save us, right? Like you said, entrepreneurship, we still got to go to school. Adam, listen, we're all for school, college, everything. Please, everybody go, get your degrees, do what you have to do, and put yourself in position. But this country is not designed to bail us out of anything. That's not how it's going to go. Read on.
They hunt our steps.
They hunt our steps. Go ahead.
That we cannot go in our streets.
Right.
Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come.
Watch this, Adam. Read the next one.
Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of heaven.
Right, than the eagles, because that's America's symbol, the eagle, right? You have America, the eagle has landed and all of that. You know what I mean? These are key words. They don't know that these people have been programmed by the Lord to say certain things so that we'll pick up. See, our people, we have to wake up and pick up on these signs, right? The eagle is America, and in the Bible, they're known as Babylon. You know what I'm saying? Babylon the Great, you read about in Revelation, right? These things are discussed. All of the prophecies are here for us to get a hold of and grow and build as a family. Go ahead, finish that up.
They pursued us unto the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness.
Right. We could leave it there. And
Before
Adam,
before you step away from that, it said they hunt our steps, right?
Right.
And that's on every scale and platform. You see what happened to Bill Cosby when he tried to buy that station, right?
Oh,
they
NBC.
hunted his steps, put it behind in jail. Don't ever do this again.
Right.
Same thing that's gonna happen with any of our other people that try to make something happen for the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community. They're gonna hunt their steps. Yeah. They're gonna pull up some of them videos, that unforeseen videos, and tarnish their name, or or bring up some type of accusation and tarnish their name, put them in jail, rotting them. Yeah, that's how it's gonna work.
Yeah,
they made a covenant with death, man.
Yeah, it's real crazy. But Adam, hey, listen, man, we kept you for 2 hours, man. We really, really appreciate you. Please,
man, for sure.
Hey, no. Adam, but your second book, just real quick, tell us a little bit what it's about, and then we want to put up your site as well.
Yeah, Black Victor. You're talking about Black Victim to Black Victor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's funny because the Black Victim and Black Victor naturally leads into the children left behind. It was something that I wrote not long after George Floyd, where everybody was saying, what's the biggest issue facing Black Americans? And my answer was ultimately family separation. That was the biggest issue.
Yes.
And so the biggest part of the book is talking about family separation, the impact on children. But I also talk about morality. I talk about expectations. I do talk about feminism. I think that's a big element that
yes, sir. Yep.
That is infecting for a lot of Black Americans having to deal with the feminist ideology that demoralizes and diminishes the importance of men within society and the importance of fathers.
Yes, sir.
So these particular elements I'm talking about within the book, but it is a book talking about unifying. So yeah, I think there's a lot in there. I talk about morality. I talk about a whole bunch of different things.
Right.
I do a lot of storytelling within it as well.
We gonna have to bring him back and talk
Yeah.
about that book.
Hey man, you touching on some key things that
That's some good stuff. Man.
yeah,
We could
because the
dive
feminism
into-
argument that's like listen, that killed our community, like 100%. You know what I mean?
And it was they plan for it to do that.
Absolutely, right? Because even when you look back during the times of, we talk about the civil rights era. You had brought it up earlier. When it was men and women fighting together, right? Then they figured that out. They said, you know what? We're gonna split this family up, right? Boom. Then you get the feminism. Now all of a sudden you got the black woman being torn apart from her man. That started everything. That was the end. Then you had what? All the social so-called welfare. Hey, you can't have the men in the house, right? Then the man had to abscond. And and now you just have a woman and her children. That's how it started. Oh, we'll give you some housing if the man is not there. We'll
Right.
do this if the man is not there. We'll do that if the man is not there. And now the family's destroyed. And then it just wound up being like the cycle just continued, and now you have what we have today.
Right.
If I can add just one quick thing.
Please.
I think it's very important for people to realize that it goes beyond just feminism, right? It's that there was always a communist agenda of using Black Americans to gain power, right? That is to answer the question, how come they're always throwing Black people and trans and gay and this and that? It's because the plan has always been to use Black people as a means to gain power. So when everyone is around there is throwing up the Black power fist, they're not realizing that fist is actually the communist fist. It is the same thing. It is a hijacking of the Black identity
Right.
for communist means. So
Man,
feminism isn't just
crazy.
feminism. Feminism is a communist construct that diminishes family and implores people to go to the state. You just talked about welfare. You don't need a man. You have the state. Right. So these are dribs and drabs of communist theology. On top of that, communists of yesteryear overtly say that the best way to move forward is to use the Black American plight to gain a foot within the United States, right? So this isn't something that is new. This isn't something that is coincidence. As much as we want to talk about race, I think it's very important that we talk about ideology.
Right.
Communist ideology is actually the biggest issue, and I see a danger within our country right now. We're talking about the running for mayor in New York City, someone who's overtly socialist, but is communist, who the DSA supports. The DSA overtly saying that wives are just sex workers, right? Just on a different pay scale. That is what they think of the family unit, the family construct. It is very much so demonic and it's anti-God. But that is who these people are, and they will use our likeness to gain power. So for me, it goes beyond race or anything like that, because there are plenty of Black communists out there who will be the front people for communist ideology and saying this helps us, and yes, it speaks to all of us, and it really does not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's really important that we talk about the communist element. I don't really dive into it within the book, but I just wanted, it's something that was on my mind. I just
Right.
really wanted to put that part out there.
All right. So, hey, we're gonna bring up your page. Bring up number 5. All right, so we could so Adam's stuff could be out there. People can read. All right, there we go. All right, so Adam, this is your page. If you want to speak on it.
Yeah, it's my Substack. I put my appearances when I do commentary for different networks. I go on Sky News Australia pretty frequently. Sometimes I do talk in the UK. If I write articles for the Post or any other publication, I tend to put it on here. But I also write articles and place it on my Substack itself. And to be honest with you, personally speaking, I've been writing less about politics, and I've been writing more about relationships. I write more about my relationship with my wife, being a father. I think these things are far more important for me to write about than nickel and diming about politics and whether I agree with this policy or not.
Right.
And so that's kind of been something that I really focused on for like the past year or so. I get tired of arguing over the same stuff every single day. I want to talk about what's important to me. That I love my wife, and my wife is a lovely person. My son is 19. He's happy, healthy. He's doing his thing. He'll be 20 in October. Like, these things matter to me a lot, and it matters to a lot of people. And I think that's an element we need. I said this before, kind of jokingly. We need better pro-family propaganda.
Right.
So
No, absolutely.
I'm trying to contribute. Yeah.
Absolutely. And these are all Adam's social media handles, his email, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff right there. But I like the family propaganda because that's what we push here heavy. We push that heavy.
Yep.
You
no
know?
more Cosby Show. No
Right.
more Family Matters. That stuff was all right. You know what I'm saying?
cool.
But
Right.
now it's gone.
Yeah, it's nothing.
It's gone. The last thing we had was My Wife and Kids.
Right.
That was my show right
Yep.
there.
Oh, you like
And,
it?
and now you got basketball wives,
Yep.
and ain't none of them wise.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right. None of them is wise.
For sure.
They barely girlfriends.
Crazy. They all
crazy.
girlfriends, man.
Right.
I was watching Divorce Court, and they had people on who weren't even married.
You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. No, it's a joke.
Court.
It's just
I was like, why are you on here?
Yo,
it's just court.
crazy.
Oh man. Well, Adam, man, hey, thank you, man, for being gracious with your time and coming on. I forgot you on the East Coast. I'm forgetting
Yeah, New Jersey.
it's crazy late over there, man. I forgot about that, and we really appreciate it. But you look like you look like it's only 8 o'clock in the night over there, bro. You looking real spry.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll give you guys props because this has been normally I get tired because I do Sky News Australia. Sometimes they want me to do it like at midnight, and I go to bed at 9:30.
Right.
So I'm dead tired.
Right.
But this has actually been very interesting, and so I'm kind of wide awake now.
Crazy.
For sure.
Hey, all praises,
We gotta
man.
get
Thank
you
you,
again,
Adam.
man.
Thank you, Adam. Man. Hey, listen, we do shows on like many different topics, man. So if possible, we would love to have you back. You know, I think you're a good light. You know what I'm saying, for our people.
sure.
You know, in regards to how your perspective and you know what I'm saying, and your intelligence. It's a good look. You know.
Thank you.
So yes, sir. All right. So Adam, thank you again. Hey, be safe out there. All right, and look forward to speaking with you again.
Likewise.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you for coming on to the show, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All
That was
praises.
some good stuff, man.
Yeah, that was excellent. Man.
Yeah, you know,
All praises to the
time.
Lord. You know. All right. So I know we ran past a little bit, so here we go. All right. Donate to the Booster Club. All right. The Isaiah 11:11 Project. All right. Help us get around the world. Get the 12 tribes back together again. Be a family again. All right. Give what y'all can. All right. Help us with the airfare, hotels, food. All right. And all that good stuff. All right. All praises.
Next.
Let's get to that next one.
Next.
Come on.
They leave that on there long.
There you go.
Right. Hey. All right. And save a couple of pennies and donate to the Nehemiah Squad. All right. Because we got them DEI hires in the back. We got to make sure we hire the right people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we need some more bread. Right. But hey, hit that QR code right there. All right. Send us a couple of dimes. Or send it to iuic.norcal@israelunite.org.
Yeah. You better do it to yourselves, man.
Yeah.
You do it to
Yeah.
yourselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We need some new cameras. That's true. All right, y'all. Just send in y'all whole check. We need some cameras.
But don't forget the Booster Club.
Right. Oh, man. Okay. All right. So next week's show, we got the former mayor of Antioch right out here in the Bay, right? Lamar Thorpe. All right. And it's going to be black mayor targeted racism in local government exposed. So it's going to be an excellent show next week.
It.
You know what I'm saying? Lord willing, life
Bring it
lasts. We're going to have a great conversation with this brother right here. You know what I'm saying? And it's the political field. So, he's seeing some things that we just can comment on and opine, as they say, give our opinion on, right? But he was in it, so we're gonna see for real what was going on, right? So all praises next week. Lamar Thorpe. All right, Officer Shim.
Oh,
Come on.
man.
Oh, do the thing.
Come
Do
on.
the thing, man.
Come on.
Read that.
Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 21.
Come on.
Then I testified against them and said unto them, why lodge ye about the wall? If ye do so again, I will lay hands on you.
If you do so again, we gotta lay hands on you. If you don't donate to the Booster Club, we gotta lay hands on you. If you don't tune in to next week's show, we gotta lay hands on you. And I know it wasn't the topic, but it kind of struck my nerves. You feminist women, keep it up. We gonna put hands on you. Hey, you've been tuned into the show.
Spiritual hands.
Spiritual hands.
Spiritual hands. All right,
Spiritual
come on,
hands.
behave yourself.
Listen, you better behave yourself, and we gotta put this hand on you.
We're going to hit you with the script.
Right here, this right here. This is what I meant.
Right. So
Smack you upside the head.
throw the book at him.
Yeah, and it's gonna hurt. This is a big book. But you tuned into the Nehemiah Squad. We are your hosts. I'm Officer Shim. That's Captain Zaccai. That's Officer Judah. And we out.
All right.
Spiritual hands.
Most High Christ bless the spiritual hands, y'all.
Hey, even the evening, spend holy days away from the heathen. I need a break, I don't need a reason. I need a script, I don't need your grievance. Keep it to yourself, it's better for my health. Leave it on the shelf, ain't hearing nothing else. Tonight ain't the night, knowing the price. Pay it off with my life, till it's out with your lights. Do it all for the Christ, and he ain't playing nice. Knew the end from the start. Fix your face like it's art. The sons of a simp, call them part. Yeah, you did your best, played your part. But now it's time to cut you to the heart. Flex on occasion. It's the strangest of the salvation. You see it, believe it, amazing. Them chariots coming invasion since the creation. War, mine, Lord, bless the general. Greatest nation, eat them unequivocal. Bombs dropping, buddy, cause it's biblical. Start shit, now it's time to finish. Whoa. Said he won't vote, he looking for smoke. So, we give him some more. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world.
I can't wait for our kingdom to start and for there to be finished. Get rid of all of their idols and lying religions. Look for the crown like an Edris. Hey, this that crown talk. Wisdom of Solomon 5 talk. This that second Edris 6 and 9. We want eyes talk. It's your time to end. And my time again. It's our time to win. Away with the sin. You know what it is. Rejoice with my kin. See that is why we repented. Go to the streets, I can see myself in it. The city is bright, the kingdom of light. A wonderful sight past the angels, the inner light. I need 1,000 years of labor. Sit on my throne with my savior. Try to know wine, press alone. He bring pain like major. You think the nations is equal to us? T.K. Kirkland, who raised you? Flex on occasion, my God a racist. That's why we moving with patience. It's been a long time coming. I spent my whole life running. Now that I'm 10 toes down and established my faith on 100. Woe to the nations, my king will race them. You know they gotta be punished. Jeremiah 25. Yeah, you know they gon' fry. Whoa.
Said he won't vote, he looking for smoke. So, we give him some more. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world.